What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are going to switch it up a little bit today. This weekend I wanted to get my CO2 set up for the Iwagumi. I forgot to bring my empty tank with me to work. The plan was after work to drive up to get it refilled on my way home. But I didn't. I totally forgot because I was running late. I just ran out the door getting ready for work. But it's really hard to find a place that will refill my CO2 tank on the weekends. I'm still looking, something that's drivable distance, but got my goodies here. Little sneak peek. Inline diffuser. Did end up ordering automatic top off. Got my nice regulator and my glass lily pipes. And the CO2 tank's back there somewhere. But that was going to be the video for the weekend to get this guy flooded because it's exactly 6 weeks, I believe. Yeah, exactly 6 weeks. And if you guys take a look, you guys can see that root action. These guys have got a grip, so I feel like if I flood it, they won't float away. And I do have some dying patches, so I feel like I should hurry up and get it started and get that CO2 injected, and hopefully it'll thrive. But this video is just gonna be a quick walkthrough. It's spring pretty much. I mean, it's still a little chilly outside, but we got a lot of things happening. A lot of things have happened and some changes that I want to make. So let's just go give a little tour. Thanks for Rob kind of giving me the idea for doing this. I didn't want to do something like this, but I just didn't know when would be a good time. So let's go over it. As soon as we go in here, it is I think this is a 12-gallon Fluval Edge. So this tank is pretty much unchanged since I set it up. I got the Ember Tetras from Prime Time. I got a bunch of red Willies in here. So originally I had the Ember Tetras, I had cherry shrimp and my copper alien betta from Prism, but that betta ate all my shrimp. And then it was just the embers and then the betta in here. But then I relocated him to a different tank and I added the red Willies instead. So they're actually doing all right. They threw a bunch of browns, which are really hard to see on this substrate. I'm trying to see if I see any, but surprisingly, this tank right here is like my thriving tank. Like this Java Moss was just like a small ball, and I added one crypt, and there's the jungle val in the back, and then I think this is might be dwarf sage or regular sage, and then I had some buse I glued onto the rocks. This Java Moss, it blew up, and like it's crawling all over the wood and in the back. I mean, it's awesome, but I've got to thin it out soon. And these guys, I think it was just, this one is all from the same, all runners. There's like 7 of them. And then the val back there is just going crazy. And then the crypt, probably like 5 leaves originally, but it's doing well. And I haven't added anything to this tank. And I mean, it's got some stratum, some equal complete, and whatever that red fluval one is called. I totally forget the name. There's a little shrimp right there too. But this tank is the most consistent. I do my water changes probably every couple of weeks, just because there's so much plant per gallon, I guess. It just filters it very naturally. So I do a water change maybe once every 2 weeks, possibly even 3 weeks. And this tank it thrives. I mean, I'm sure it could be booming a lot better, but I feel like I've taken something from this tank, like a plant, but it's doing really well. It's doing incredibly well. And like some of this stuff, like the Java Moss, like some of my tanks, I can't even get Java Moss to live. So that kind of shows me that consistency is really important. It should be like top 1 or 2 on your list to, helping your tank to thrive, to get mature. It's just being as consistent as possible. So that is my take on that. If you can't get the plants to work, just find the plants that do and keep it consistent. Don't change around too much. I know I love changing things around, but this is my proof in the pudding tank. And then we got my breeder set up. I don't know if it's a breeder setup. Yeah, I guess so. So we still have my Medaka here. Those are the ones that I hatched from eggs. I don't know if you guys saw the video where I did this setup and I painted those bottoms white. Unfortunately, like the white, I don't know if it's because it's white, they just get so much algae just because the light is reflecting on them so much. And then all that fish poop. I feel like I just collected some out last week, but it's going crazy. So yeah, those are my Medaka. This, I put one of my pregnant full gold ribbon females in here, and she laid. And this is from regular full gold female, no ribbon. So I don't know if I'm going to keep them separate because the adults are all together in my tank, so we'll see. I did pull some of my cobras, my yellows and oranges into here because it was getting too crowded in my mutt tank. Green water tank is going superb. It's looking super green. I see a lot of life in there, a lot of, what is it? I saw some scuds swimming around. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it out, but I did see a bunch of creepy crawlies on the glass. So it just shows me that this tank's doing good. I do feed it every now and then. So yeah, it's getting greener and greener. So let's go into the kitchen where this is my mutt tank, my mutt guppies. I've been having issues with this tank. Yeah, I've been having issues. Like this one is on timeout, AKA quarantine, because I saw that she looked like she had wasting disease, which is the issue I've had with this tank. So I haven't given out any fish from in here. But I did medicate it a couple times. Did a water change and then put medication again, probably 2 days ago, 3 days ago. So we're gonna keep an eye on it. Like, I don't know, like that one right there. It seems like it's a little too skinny and not acting right for me. So probably gonna pull that out, swap places with her because she's been in here for 2 weeks and she's, doing fine, looking better. The belly's looking a little bit more plump. That brings us to one of our flower horns. So this was the competition grow out one. Needless to say, it isn't that pretty looking, so I didn't win, but she's still in here. Most likely a female because the hump didn't grow. So that kind of, didn't give me any points, but she's good. She's good. She's doing all right. And past the mess, let's go. Got the plant rack here. All the plants are doing awesome. Oh, okay, so my Medaka tank. All this duckweed, I pulled out some of the dwarf water lettuce from my larger tank, and maybe like several pieces of duckweed came on the roots. From those several pieces, not adding any more to this tank, this is probably about a month in since I moved those plants here. Like, it's already taken over the whole top. Disgusting. Disgusting! So, well, we'll get more on that later, but these guys are doing awesome. They're getting nice and big, getting a lot of color to them. Can you guys make it out? Yeah, they're still a little timid, but yeah, those speckles. Beautiful, beautiful. And then my little pond, my pond planter, still doing good. I haven't seen any more eggs recently. I tried pulling the last batch that I found on them from those spawning mops, but I don't think they were fertilized because they never hatched. So trying to get them to grow out a little bit. Might need warmer water. Let's see. The fish room is 70 degrees right now, so let's take it. The water is maybe like 68 or so. I mean, the Medaka are fine in cooler waters, but I'm wondering if a heater will kind of kick it up a little bit. We'll have to see. This is the 40 breeder, my original planted tank with, it's a dirted tank, but it's been pretty neglected. Not horribly. I mean, I still like feed the fish every day, and like, you know, I will swap out the fish. It's not really stocked right now because I did pull out a bunch of fish, but my two bettas, you know, the females are still doing fine in here. I have plans. I do want to redo this whole tank. Now, this is my oldest tank. It's the most mature, so it's probably, you know, got the best water, got the best, you know, organisms living inside and all that jazz. But it isn't looking like it did during its glory days. So I think I want to redo it with dirt again, but probably a little better. Probably think more into the scape, and I might actually get a new rack for it, because this is a 2-stack and I think I want to go 3, but we'll see. Let me hit the lights for this guy. Still my SRD, still looking very good. I like how he looks. Been trying to sell him for a little bit now, but you know, only tire kickers, no real people, no real bites. But yeah, I mean, he's still great. I like him. But I do want to do something else with this 40 breeder, so trying to figure that out, seeing what I can empty up and what space I can make. Yeah. All right. So this is the tank we're gonna have a little story time about. If you guys can see, these guys are small. There looks like there's more in here from last time you probably saw them. I did a water change on this tank, but I had this filter, the Fluval, on here, but the water line was way above the output, so there was zero movement. I did it one I don't know, what is earlier this week. Let's say I did it Monday night. Tuesday, after I got home from work, it looked like there was nothing in the tank. So what had happened was, I got home and then I saw there was probably 4 left on the top of the surface. They looked like they were gasping for air. I looked at it and realized there is no surface movement, so they're probably suffocating. So what surface movement does is it creates oxygen inside the water. I didn't have that sponge filter in it, because normally, you know, I've got the canister filter and it's blasted in because my water level isn't all the way to the top. But I overfilled that day, so it was probably 2 inches above the output of the filter, so it wasn't creating any movement at all. I saw some dead fish floating, some on the ground, pulled them out, immediately started draining the tank. As I was draining, I did some water testing, and the nitrates were really high. The ammonia levels were still good. So, you know, my cycle is still there, but the dead fish, I don't know how long they couldn't have been dead for that long. Probably a few hours, because I had just done the water change the night before, but they probably caused that ammonia spike and the nitrates went really high. So I had both of my rusties, probably 2 of the females, the yellows, and then a couple of the smaller fish, which I'm surprised that lived. But all of my 4 darker males, and I think 2 of the females from the solo size, they were no longer here. So I had to get rid of them. But luckily, I mean, still over there, I still got some, but luckily those tanks were fully stocked with some juvies, since these things breed non-stop. So I grabbed some of those, grabbed some rusty juvies, and put them in this tank. So while I did that the second day, this guy, my canister was inside a bucket. I leave them in buckets because of my fear of them leaking. The water was completely full, barely dribbling to the side. So it was a slow leak, but I had to stop it and take it apart, because during that second water change, after I found that everything from here died, I of course cleaned out my filter. I wanted to get all the gunk out, get all the nasty stuff from the dead fish and all those nitrates. So I cleaned it, and when I put it back together in here, day after, it was completely full. I took it apart, tried many times to clean it, to seal it, and it kept on leaking. Just a slow leak from the sides, like right here, like water would just completely start dripping. Like it was like a slow stream. So came to the conclusion that it was because of the O-ring. So the O-ring, I went online, ordered from Amazon. Didn't order the actual Fluval brand, but I ordered a 3-pack of an off-brand just because it was like a little bit more than a single Fluval one, and we're all about saving money. So I'm gonna replace that. Fingers crossed it fixes it. Unfortunately, it doesn't get here till tomorrow, so we'll have to wait and see. But I think this is the original O-ring on this filter, so probably needed to be changed out anyways. So I added the sponge in there. What that does is it's giving me all that oxygen, as well as, you know, doing some filtration and keeping some of that biological beneficial bacteria in there. And then I rescaped it. I think that looks much better than it did before. So sad story. Happier story, this tank is looking great. Still got my beautiful rummy nose. So the filter looked kind of like that. So that's that filter back there, the filter output. It's not anywhere near the surface, so it's not putting any surface agitation. That's why the sponge is still there to create all those bubbles for that surface agitation that give more oxygen to the water. So always be careful with that, guys. I was worried about these plants when I first put them in because it was just a thin layer of gravel, but they're still alive. I feel like they're doing good. I mean, it's been a couple weeks, it's been 3 weeks at least. It's been at least 3 weeks. I know that because I got that from the last GCCA swap, and the next swap is next week, so I think it's been at least 3 weeks right now. But they're doing good. I added some of my Juvie bristlenose because I'm just trying to do some moving around. There should be a couple in here, maybe a couple albinos and a couple regular chocolates. But yeah, I am pre-ordering about 10 more rummy nose for next week, as well as a few more, not a few more, maybe one more new species to this fish room. So hopefully, fingers crossed. Yeah, fingers crossed. We'll talk more about it later. Okay, we still got little betta in this 5-gallon. I keep putting it off. I do have that 6-gallon rimless, frameless that is going to be the upgrade for it. So yeah, I know I've been putting it off for so long, but it deserves an upgrade and it will get one. But yeah, it's still doing good. Now these fish I pulled from my mud tank. This is, I'm acclimating them to cool water. So there's no heater in this tank. I just put them in here not that long ago. So it is room temperature water. It's probably, yeah, I mean, it's probably like 68 degrees. Because where they're going, I'm gonna give them to a friend. He has a nice tank that is almost like a paludarium. But he doesn't have a filter in that, he just has plants. So I'm gonna give him some livestock for there. So just making sure they don't get any temperature shock if I took them right away from my tank to his, which they probably wouldn't because they're pretty sturdy, but yeah, just in case. My 10-gallon quarantine, I got, you know, my rummy nose from this same person and 4 of these blue eye lemon short fins. So these guys have been here for over a month now. So they are for sure quarantined, fully quarantined, ready, good to go. I am reorganizing to be able to put them in their semi-permanent homes. So they are still in there for now, but hopefully I can get them breeding. Like that guy is a male for sure. If it will focus. Getting all those whiskers on that nose part. Those I hope are females. Like they have little whiskers around their mouths, but none has developed on the nose yet. So we'll see if they do develop. Going around to the side, let's start from the top. Still got my Riverscape tank here. This is gonna get a makeover. Still trying to figure out what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna take this guy apart soon. And when I say soon, I never know how long that's gonna be. I still got all my chili rasboras. Got my group of pandas, panda cories. My little baby dog is right there under that piece of wood. It's coming out. It's always hungry, always hungry. That's my snail killer. I did a water change not too long ago, but you can see all the snail shells in the back. but we're gonna redo this tank. We're gonna redo this tank. We're gonna harvest from it probably the wood. I'm gonna figure out what to do. But yeah, that's in the works. This is where I had all of my, what did I have in here? All of my baby plecos. There aren't that many left. Gave some away, moved some to different tanks. Some didn't make it, but we've got a couple back there. I did move my full reds, my albino full reds in here just so they would have more, I guess, fresher water, just because they were in a 10-gallon breeding tank and I didn't think they were living their best life. This one is probably pregnant and maybe in about a week I'll try to split it so we can have some babies. But I'm gonna redo this tank as well, or not, maybe not redo it, but repurpose it, because this tank, so these guys are getting out of control. I do want to split them up. I kind of already started splitting them up, but I think I want to split them up more to get the larger sizes out. Because I did try catching some. I'm just gonna skip ahead, and I put them into here just so it's easier for me to catch the ones that are ready to sell. But yeah, they're in there, the larger ones. But I'm gonna have to do that. It's gonna take me a while because I think I was like 1 hour trying to fish these guys and then fish out my longfin blue eye lemons from the other tank. So that took a while. But yeah, I mean, they're doing good. I think I want to relocate these endlers, put them somewhere else because they're just adding unnecessary ammonia into this tank. And I've already got to do a water change once every 3 days. So yeah, I just want to be able to extend that time a little bit longer. Then we got my multis, these Shelleys. I mean, they're still doing good. They're unbelievably still popping out babies, that you can see right there. I thought they stopped for a bit, or I think they did stop for a bit, and now suddenly I saw some new babies. I don't even know what to do with them. Nobody around here wants them. So I mean, I might have to go that Vivi route and post them online to ship them out. But yeah, you guys let me know if you guys want them, because if you guys can just come by and I'll pack them up and just give them to you. All right. But yeah, they're doing good. They probably need an upgrade if they keep this up and I can't get rid of any. But we'll figure it out when that time comes. All right, let's start at the top. So, still got my lumpy over here. Still don't know if that's a tumor or ulcer, but it keeps growing, but he's still doing great. So nothing has slowed him down. He's got the diamond scale over his eyes, but he seems like he can still see fine because he knows when I'm coming close. He knows when I'm putting food in. Like if I go up here like this, see, he already knows. He already knows, and he thinks I'm about to feed him. I mean, which I will soon, but he knows. I've got one of my accident fish here. It's a blue swordtail. So I say accident fish is because when I went to one of the swaps, it was super tiny inside a bag with some cherry shrimp. I asked the owner and he said, oh, it's gonna be a blue swordtail. Think of it as a bonus. So I just bought the bag anyway, and then he started being a bully in my 40 breeder. So I pulled him out and he's on timeout until I figure out what we're gonna do with him. Probably have to just give him away too because he doesn't fit anywhere that I want to keep him. All right, so these guys, my female cherry barbs, still doing fine. Still have them split up from the male, looking stunning right there. I am gonna do something with them soon because I think that they are ready to try breeding. So fingers crossed, hopefully they do. Going down here, we've got my purple Moscows. So these guys are doing great. They keep popping out new babies. They're looking fantastic. Everybody's hungry. Gonna have to feed them soon. We've got my longfin blue eye lemons. This is also the tank that's getting out of control. Look at all those on that airline. I don't know if they're still in there. Last night I found some inside this thing, sponge filter. I think that right there on the left side might be a tail of one of them. But yeah, these guys are doing great. I mean, I wonder if we're gonna get some breeding action soon. I mean, they are showing more interest in the caves, so they haven't bred in a little bit now, so I think they're getting ready. Fingers crossed. hopefully my super reds haven't bred in a while now either, but you know, hopefully they're getting ready. Hopefully. All right. So as you guys saw, this tank, I pulled some of my super reds out. I also pulled some of my longfin blue eyes out, just because them being separated in a single tank by themselves is going to be a lot easier to catch. So hopefully this will fill up. This 5 gallon, I just have some snails in here and a couple moss balls. One of the moss balls were kind of turning pale, so I put them in here. This is no filter, no heater. It's got a filter, got a built-in filter, but no heater. So it's cooler water, and I think the plants appreciate that more, so kind of re-energizing them in there. All right, so the rest of my Psilocybe juvies, still got, what is that, probably about 10 of them. I might move them to the big tank. I don't know, we'll see. I just still kept a couple in here just in case somebody wants to buy them. Moved them all out from in here, just consolidated, as well as pulling them out into my 55. I have this empty. It's going to stay empty. It's going to serve a purpose as a quarantine tank for next week. So we're just going to leave that empty. The Rusties, as you can see, there's different sizes in there. I pulled some out from the original juvie batch, and then I added some newer, younger ones in there. So I'm also figuring out what I want to do with those as well, because these guys are not moving. I've sold a few of them, but definitely not as much as it's worth giving them their own tank for now. So that's the Iwagumi tank. I already told you guys about that. Hopefully we're gonna flood it, you know, soon, hopefully. But every day I've been airing it out and respraying it, and I can't believe it's already been 6 weeks, because that's a lot of days. But I feel like if it goes on any longer, that I'm gonna start to get more die-offs, which I don't want, because there are some patches that are doing really good. I can see them thriving, but then these dark patches are what's worrying me. So the reason I vent it up is so the plants can receive some fresh CO2, and then I'll respray it to keep the moisture inside and then cover it. So usually about 30 minutes to an hour every day, I'll vent it just so they get that circulation. All right, my next Fluval 5 gallon, still got my cherry shrimp in there. It's probably about several of them. And then those are my rummy nose rasboras. Is that what they are? Yeah, rummy nose rasboras. So there's a mix of males and females. Those are going to be the highlight fish of the Iwagumi tank. I do plan on getting some more from Jason next weekend, and I'm trying to decide if it's going to be all male or all males, or males and females inside the tank. Then we got my maybe I should have turned the lights off. There's so much glare. My bluegrass, my hyphen bluegrass, which are doing good. All right. Let me see if turning the lights off helps. I don't know. It's still pretty bright in here. My hyphen bluegrass. Yeah, they're still doing good. I don't know what else there is to say about it. But they did throw a little bit of reds. I don't know if you guys can make out the reds in there, but the reds turned more blue as they grew older. So I'm just leaving them all in there. And these are the golds. These are the golds. These are the ones that I've tried so hard to breed, and the ones that I have in my breeding tank. There are some fry in here. Some larger ones that I ended up just putting in, and some really smaller ones in that corner. So things are working pretty well. I did have a casualty the other day. So hopefully, after that casualty, I did medicate the tank just in case. So hopefully things are working well. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that. My black metal lace. So these guys are a lot of black and a lot less, I'm sure it's distracting to see my face, right? A lot less lacy. So I think I've only got 1 or 2 males in there. They're pretty solid black. I don't see any of the metal lace in their body, so I wasn't posting these guys for sale, because pretty much just like a black Moscow at this point. But hopefully they, I don't know, that's not right. Hopefully they start popping out more babies and they are more lace as well. All right, this is my green dragon tank. Still got, I can't remember if it was 4 or 5, but they're getting big. Like this guy down here, can't tell, but it might be a female. Oh, nope. So he's flaring out right now. So I'm pretty sure it's a male. There it goes. Such long poop trails. So hopefully we've got another male in that. Hopefully they start using the cave and they start laying. They haven't yet because I bought them when they were so young. But they're also in the tank with my koi guppies. One of my faves also. One of them looks like, that one on the left looks like she's kind of pregnant. So yeah, one was for sure pregnant and I separated her, put her in that breeder tank behind me, and then nothing ever happened. So I think she like just ingested her eggs, which I didn't know was a thing until, I don't know, pretty recently, and I started looking it up, and some just like, I don't know if they just eat their eggs internally from their stomach, but their eggs just disappear and they're skinny again, and I guess just living life. So that was weird. The last swap, I finally got my hands on these guys. They were sold to me as 182 or 183. So these are, they call the Starlight. I've been looking for them forever. I've been looking for 183 specific, but the breeder I think has both in his tank and he can't tell what they are. But they are the white seams. As you can see on the tail, they've got a nice little white seam and they're polka dotted. So they're going to be moved to their probably own tank. Nah, maybe not an own tank, but a larger tank as well. I was just slowly acclimating them because I was worried about their sensitivity, but I think they're fine. So this tank, it took me forever to net out, I think 15 or 16 of these Juvie Rusties the other night. You should have seen the floor. The floor was so wet. It took me at least an hour, and I was almost certain I had got all of them until I came back an hour later and I saw these guys swimming around. I only saw 3 at the time, but there's 5 now. 5, 6, 5? No, there's 5 of them. So one of these days I'm gonna have to get the rest of them out because they are eating all the food that I try to give my other breeding pair of plecos. You can see the Super Reds back there behind the heater. There's another baby on there. They bred, and those are from them, but they've been in here for over a month, but they haven't shown any more breeding activity. So I'm not sure what's going on. I think that male is just getting lazy because that's exactly where he stays all the time. So yeah, that's that. All right, this is the other tank I'm gonna clear out is my females and a couple males from my Endler group, my black bars. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. I can't get rid of them, you know. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I also need this tank for a quarantine tank, so they're definitely getting moved sometime this week. And then we got my buddy, Pound It. All right, flower horn tank. Definitely have to give it another clean and a water change. Yeah, but he's doing good. He's doing good, eating well, you know, living his best life, getting big. You know, I had somebody comment on one of my videos that he was very disappointed of this tank. Probably not in those nice words, but you know, I've been keeping flower horns for years now, and they just need clean water and a lot of space to swim, and they'll be happy. If you guys didn't know, they are a man-made fish, so you guys can't tell me whatever, keep them how they want to be kept in the wild. It's because they're not in the wild. I think that's why flower horns get a bad rap, because they are man-made. They're completely hybrid. There's no such thing as a flower horn fish that, you know, it just occurs naturally in the wild. So yeah, quick tip of that. And then we got my Juvie Betta tank. This is why I hate suction cups. They just don't stay. I've got to do something with this tank because I'm not liking it. So if I'm not liking a tank, you know, I should just change it up. But what worries me is that substrate we created at the bottom, which is a lot of loose pond soil under all this pool filter sand. So I know there's no way I'm going to be able to get it separated. So yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that out. I think I'm just procrastinating because I don't want to deal with it. But yeah, I do, you know, my water changes and top offs on this tank, feed them every day. So they're doing fine. So they're not neglected. It's just that this tank, I guess just the physical tank itself is. But yeah, is that it? I think that's it. Yeah. So the next GCCA swap, is it dark in here, is next weekend. I've got a few pre-orders in already to get some fish in here. I already told you that the rummy nose is going to be one of them. I want that tank with a lot of rummy nose. I just love how they school together and love how it looks. But I'm going to give another shot to Cardinal Tetras. All right. I know the seller I'm getting it from, they get it wild caught, but they also keep it in their tank before they sell it. So I'm hoping it's like sort of a quarantine situation, but they also don't live close enough to me where I know that we're sharing the same water. So the Cardinal Tetras, Neon Tetras, they are sensitive to pH from my experience. So I think a lot of people can keep them well, but I have a really high pH and hard water. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to slowly acclimate them. I might get a 10-gallon ready with like a half RO with half tap water, get some tannins in there, and then slowly through water changes, just ramp it up over weeks and maybe a month to get them more acclimated to my water. That's the plan, is because I just have a bad taste in my mouth from regular Neon Tetras and Cardinal Tetras, because before I, you know, knew so much about fish keeping, everybody loves Neons, right? They're so colorful, they're so small, so cheap. I know I tried once, you know, maybe it's because I went to like Petco or PetSmart and bought like 5 of them. You know, obviously they're a schooling fish and they like bigger numbers, but you know, when you get into this hobby, you buy 5 fish, you know, several bucks, $10, $12, you're okay with that much. But then once you start getting more into it, I started getting more into it, and you're okay with paying for quality, paying for longevity of your fish. So I think I'm at that time where I want to give it another shot because I absolutely love how they look, love how they school, and I think they're going to look great with those rummy nose. So fingers crossed, hopefully everything works out. I'll give you guys an update once I get them. And then what else am I getting? I think I'm getting another species of pleco. I think that's the plan. And probably taking down some tanks. When I say taking down, I mean just like breaking them down and redoing them. I do want... So this is a lot of real estate here. It's a lot of space. It's my largest tank in this fish room. But it doesn't give me a lot to do. It's taking up the most amount of space with just a single tank and a single fish. Now, I mean, I still love the fish. I still love the tank, but it just doesn't make sense from a real estate real estate point. So I am working on getting a double stand where I want to put the 75 on the bottom and a 60 breeder on top. So that should be still roughly the same height. I mean, it might go up like 6 more inches just because this is going to be on the ground, and then the 60 breeder is shorter than the 75. So it shouldn't be that bad, but that's the plan. Also got to figure out where I want to put my CO2 tank and filter for this. Originally my idea was right here, but I think my filter might go here, and I think I might put my CO2 tank in the corner because I want to run a CO2 line to this tank and then another line all the way around to that 40 breeder, because once I redo that with new dirt, new plants, I think I want to inject some CO2 into there. But we'll see. I might just turn that into a planted tank. or this one. So just so the CO2 can be closer, but we'll see. I think that's it. I mean, hopefully I can find a place that will refill my CO2 tank this weekend. I might have to drive, where is it? Well, I gotta go pretty far. I probably gotta drive an hour anyway, so I'm trying to look for a place that's on the way. But there it is, my beautiful 10-gallon recertified, reconditioned aluminum tank. The hydro date was 2 months ago, on January of this year, 2023. So I know it is good to refill, and I don't have to pay for another 5 years to get it tested, which will run like $40, $50, but who knows what it's going to cost in 5 years. But yeah, I mean, I definitely have to reorganize, do a lot more cleaning, and get this filter fixed, because those guys definitely need some more filtration. I mean, it's only been a couple days. I know they're doing fine. I know the water's good, but I do want to get that canister back on that 55. Yeah, I guess that's it. I really feel like there's something else, but I don't think there is. Cool. All right. Well, I don't think you guys learned anything from this video today, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Give you a little fish room update. Has been a long time since my last one, but there's gonna be some more changes. It's spring, it's springish, so I do want to try moving that pond planter outdoors probably in a couple months, once it gets a lot warmer outside and the lows aren't so low. And then yeah, I gotta figure out how to optimize this space more, because as much as I said I don't think I can add more tanks, I think I can. But yeah, I do still have this 20 long over here with I'm probably gonna have to set up and put somewhere during quarantine, because I am getting about 4 species in this room next weekend, and I think I want them all to have their own quarantine tank. So I've got one 20 high, 20 tall. Do you guys call them 20 highs or 20 talls? Because I always mix them up. I use both of them. My 20 tall is open. My other 20 with my endlers is going to be open. I have that 5-gallon, which is unheated. I could just, I guess, put in a heater. And I guess I can quarantine my some fish in there. I don't know. I got to figure it out. But yeah, stay tuned, guys. Next video is probably going to be the CO2 video. And then the video after that might be an update, or I might mix them around. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.